Sonic 2 rolls into the box office this weekend with one heck of a debut. We're going to talk about some of the box office numbers, and I actually got a chance to go see the movie yesterday with my 10-year-old son, and let me tell you, I was really impressed. Something that doesn't come out of Hollywood much these days in terms of children's movies. So I want to talk about not only the financial numbers, but also why I think you out there as parents should absolutely take your kids to see this movie. You're going to love it. Let's get into it right now. Online. Well, welcome back, folks. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. And if you are like one of the very many folks out there probably watching this video that are not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that share button out to your social medias, and do drop us a comment before you head out the door today. We've got quite a bit to talk about. I was a big fan of the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out in February of 2020. Now, of course, that movie probably would have performed even better than it did had it not been mashed right up against the pandemic lockdowns, which started just a couple of weeks after the movie released in many international markets and just about 3 or 4 weeks after it released in the US. But the fans out there of the film were very loud and boisterous about how much they really appreciated what the team did that made the film. Of course, at first, the animated Sonic character was something of a bit of a concern to a lot of folks because it looked, frankly, very weird. But the team went back and they reanimated Sonic to look much more like the original character from the classic Sega video games. And Sonic 2, really, when you think about sequels, yeah, you usually have a little bit lowered expectations on these, but I went in thinking that it might be as good as the first movie. Well, needless to say, my 10-year-old Renegade Jr. thought it was even better than the first movie. He liked it even more. And I almost kind of have to agree with him. And let's look at the box office numbers because one can make the argument that it's being reflected there as well. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has opened this weekend so far at this point through Sunday morning estimates to a reported $71 million. And quite frankly, folks, I think that is going to get a little bit higher by tomorrow morning when the final numbers come in. And of course, we don't have all the international numbers, but this 71 million represents just domestic. This is North American, US, and Canada box office figures only. Now, one of the things that we look at here on Valiant Renegade is always putting Hollywood through the business and financial lens of reality. So when it comes to box office, we need to not look just at raw data that comes in, total gross sales figures. We also want to take into consideration what the studios actually bring home from that theatrical gross revenue and what the total costs were to produce and market this film. And as we can see here, according to the numbers, the production budget for Sonic 2 was about $90 million, a fairly respectable figure these days considering so many $100 and $200 plus million blockbusters that are produced. And we can also assume that they had probably somewhere about a $75 million global marketing budget, putting the total cost to the studio and to the distributor on this movie in the range of about $165 to maybe $170 million, which means they probably need to get up in that $350 million range to $400 million range before they start hitting profit territory with just the box office alone. And again, as you can see with just estimated figures right now and not all of the international markets reporting in yet, it already stands at roughly $85 million this opening weekend. So that's a heck of a start. And especially when we look back to the first Sonic movie, which brought in a domestic haul on its opening weekend of around $58 million. Even if we factor in some inflationary pressures from 2020 when the first movie came out until today, we can at the very least say that Sonic 2 is pacing the first Sonic movie. And again, this is only because we had a very radical amount of inflation in movie ticket prices since the pandemic era started. What we know from reports and financial data from companies like Cinemark and AMC is that ticket prices on average are about 20% higher today than they were pre-pandemic lockdown. And also, it's notable to add that this movie is starting just before the spring break and Easter holiday season, For the next 2 weeks, roughly, schools across the country will be cycling in and out of week-long vacation times. So this is probably going to afford the movie a tremendous opportunity not only to maintain its trajectory in the box office, but also have the kind of long-range legs, as we call them, for the movie to sustain its growth in box office revenues over the course of the next few weeks. Now, with all that financial data aside, let's talk about why I think this is happening and why I think it's going to continue. Writers Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington, along with director Jeff Fowler, have given us a really solid entry. And not just a solid entry in the Sonic series, but a solid entry in children's and family entertainment. This movie is something you can take your kids to and not worry about Hollywood pushing some type of political or social agenda down your children's throats, something that frankly is all too common in Hollywood these days. And it's really a shame. Audiences are begging for just simple, good, clean entertainment like Sonic 2 delivers. I'll just tell you, this movie from start to finish is just a bucket of fun. The reason I loved watching this with my 10-year-old son is that the movie starts out with Sonic in kind of a pickle. He's trying to be the hero that he wants to be, that he's just frankly not ready for. And in the first 5 minutes of the film, he manages to destroy an entire city block in downtown Seattle. It's pretty funny, but it also sets his character up as where it should be. He's still not ready to do this yet. And it takes a positive male role model, a father figure, that Sonic has yet to recognize as a father figure, played by James Marsden. Now, there's a wonderful scene in the beginning of the film where Marsden, after this chaos ensues, takes Sonic out on the boat and goes to a fishing spot that his father took him when he was young. And he re-imparts a lot of the life lessons that his father taught him down to Sonic. And Sonic doesn't recognize himself at this point as Marsden's son, but by the end of the movie, that changes through character growth. And the lessons that he imparts to Sonic is that even though he has all these powers, he just has to realize he's still a kid and he still has a lot of growing up to do. This is the same kind of lesson that you or I as parents out there would want to instill to our children who think they can take on the world at any age and any experience level. And there's other great lessons in there too, like family and how family's important. And this is something that Sonic's character learns as the film goes on. But of course, he's a little reluctant to accept the terms of this message because it's not until a vastly superior opponent, someone who is much more well-trained and far better skilled, shows up and frankly wipes the floor with Sonic in a matter of seconds. And that, of course, is Knuckles. So they really put Sonic through a lot of character growth in the movie. And again, it's the kind of character growth that you as parents would want to see in your own sons and your own daughters. The movie imparts a lot of great life lessons that we don't have to worry about what else or what other kind of subliminal messaging is being pumped into children through Hollywood entertainment, something that the Walt Disney Company apparently is getting very involved in now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave a link to a couple of videos that we've done recently below this one. I would urge parents a great deal of caution with any Disney property on film or television coming forward from this point. Sonic the Hedgehog also has a great deal of callbacks and Easter eggs to the old Sega video game era, the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive for some of you out there in the other parts of the world. Everything about this was a love letter to Sonic fans and a love letter to the original video games. They didn't try to redo things like we see so commonly these days with properties like Halo on Paramount+. It's amazing this actually also came out of Paramount, but something tells me that the television division and the film division are two very different divisions when it comes to thinking on how to produce content. And I will say, James Marsden and Tika Sumpter, the Wachowskis, Tom and Maddie, do an absolutely excellent job. I love them both in this movie. I loved them both in the first movie. They have a lot of great screen chemistry, they work well together, and they really come across as a great family with Sonic. And now you can add in Tails and Knuckles to it as well. And what can I say about Jim Carey? The guy is absolutely brilliant in this as Dr. Robotnic, or as more commonly referred to as Egghead. Carey is just absolutely wonderful to watch on screen. He pulls this character off so well, pulls no punches. This is the classic kind of zany, crazy Jim Carrey performance that absolutely fits this character, and he is just a pure pleasure to watch. I hope he doesn't really retire, and I hope they can get him back for a third Sonic film because they have certainly set that up, and I hope they do it, and I hope the box office continues to support more of this franchise coming back into the common entertainment fold of 2022 and beyond. So that's it, folks. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Have you seen this movie? Are you going to see this movie? Again, I can't recommend this highly enough to everybody out there, but especially for parents out there looking to take their children to just good, classic, fun entertainment that teaches the right life lessons that most parents want to teach to their kids to help them grow up the right way. So until next time, make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that notification bell, and until next time, folks, take care.